Hi, I'm attachment specialist Adam Lane Smith, and today I want to talk to you about my top 3 relationship red flags that you need to be looking out for. If there are problems in your relationship, or if you're worried that there might be, these 3 red flags are something definitely to keep in mind. And I've got them written down right here so we can go through them and I won't forget them. Red flags, real quick. What the heck is a red flag? A red flag is something that when you see this behavior come across, it's like the person throwing up a red flag saying, wait a minute, stop, take a time, take a moment, think about this one, because this could be a serious danger. There's a serious danger ahead. You need to pause and think about this one. That's a red flag. So these red flag pieces, you're going to need to look for these. I'm going to talk to you about what they are, why they're important, and maybe a little bit about what to do with each one. So, number 1, right off the bat, the other person never makes demands. Now, this sounds weird. Why would you want somebody who's demanding? It's a good question. I mean, never. Never. And not an ultimatum. I didn't say they never make ultimatums. Demands. Because demands are needs. They have needs. Or they have principles, lines that can't be crossed. They have specific ideas in their head that this must be this way, or I cannot accept this, or here's what I need. Here's what I need. And if they can never draw that line, never, there's something wrong. Because everybody has those lines. Everybody has demands. Everybody has needs. Everybody has something, a line that they can't cross. Principles. If they don't, do you want to be in a relationship with a person who has absolutely zero principles? Probably not. Let me tell you a story about my marriage early on with my wife. When we met 14 years ago, I smoked 2 packs a day. I think at that time about a pack and a half. She was a very much anti-smoker. And we went out for about 2 months until she finally said, I need to talk to you about the smoking. And it wasn't, it's me or the cigarettes. It was, this is a line for me. I can't abide by smoking because I'm looking for a long-term life partner with long-term kids and lots of kids and grandkids and great-grandkids. And the risks are too high that you're going to check out on me at 55, 60 years old, and I'm going to have to go for another 20, 30 years without you. Where are you at with that? How important is the smoking to you? Can we collaborate on this? Can we compromise in some way? Can you cut back? Where are we at on this? What are you willing to do? And it was a hard time. I had to think. I had to really think and say, okay, cigarettes, hot girl who wants to have a lifeline with me. Which one? No, I picked the cigarettes. No, I said absolutely not. I get that. If that's your line, no, I respect that. And you know what? I have the same values, but I'm not living to them, so I need to do them right now. And you're right. So I quit smoking. Haven't smoked. Thank goodness. There's been stressful times where I've thought about it, but I have not smoked. And that's awesome. I'm glad. Thanks. Go me. But that was her line. And that told me that she had values. She had principles. She had tasks she wanted to accomplish. She had goals. She had plans. That was her line. And by drawing that line, it told me a couple things. It said, if there's other lines, she'll let me know. I can trust her to let me know about lines. It told her that when we had that confrontation, it was a little bit of a confrontation, a good one. She got to see where my priorities were. She got to see how I reacted when there was a line drawn. She got to see if I would step up to the plate. And because I did, I earned that respect. I earned that respect by doing it and putting my money where my mouth was. Demands are crucial. Demands are absolutely crucial in relationships because it tells you where the lines are. And if a person never, ever draws lines, beware of that person because there are secret lines that you don't know about. And you're going to cross them and they're going to blow up in your face. Maybe not today, maybe 6 months from now or a year from now after you've committed and you haven't known the lines were there. So what to do about them is bring them up on purpose. What lines do you have? What principles? What priorities? Where are your lines? What would make me break up with you? What would make you break up with me? Where's those lines at? What do you need? What are your goals? What are your plans? And what do we need to do to get there? All of us need to make adjustments when we get into relationships. All of us. I'm not saying collapse in and just let the other person dictate your life, but all of us need to make adjustments. Or we have warning lines of saying, don't ever do X. Everybody's got those. Everybody. Make them clear in your relationship. Now, if the other person will not, Could be a serious attachment issue there so that they're afraid to. Red flag number 1. Red flag number 2, they will never talk about sex. Now, this sounds weird. Why would you talk about sex? I mean, they won't. In today's modern age, I mean, sex is... that's a whole other video. But today's modern age, a lot of dating is sex on the first date, sex on the second date or third date, sometimes sex before you even get to know each other, and then you start talking. I know a lot of people who have a hookup first, and then it builds a relationship, and then they have a kid together, and then they get married, and then they discover, oh no, we're not compatible. I'm not saying never have sex. I am saying you should talk about it at some point. The other person should be willing to talk about sex because it's a big part of relationships. Not the biggest, like some people will say, but it's a big part of the relationship, and it's a big part of expectations. If you are the kind of person who doesn't really care and you're in it for like, sex is okay, but let's talk about this. It's not a big deal. Talk about that at the first date or whenever. Say, you know what, I just want the expectations clear. And that's a lot of what this is discussing, is not just like having sex, but the expectations of sex. I just want to be clear where we're at with sex. Like it's not a big thing for me. I'm not really worried about when we do it. Or the other person, hey, you know what? I really do not want to have sex until we get to know each other. I just want that on the table right now, that it's not going to happen today. It's not going to happen in the next couple of months. We're going to wait. Some people, it's marriage. I'm just letting you know I'm not willing to do this until marriage. Men and women both say that. Whatever your expectation is, set it very early on, because you're both going to be wondering. And if the other person is unwilling to even discuss it, well, it's kind of a red flag. Especially if you're in the relationship, especially if you've been in it and dating for a little while and they still won't talk about it. If you have already had sex a few times and they still won't talk about it. Well, hey, like, are you enjoying the sex? What do you like? No, I'm fine. It's fine. It's fine. Not talking about sex at all means typically there's an attachment issue somewhere in there. Somewhere in there. If they won't even discuss it, they're ashamed of their needs. They think it's gross. It's hard to be in a relationship. It's hard to be, like, for example, in a marriage with somebody who thinks sex is gross. Because odds are good the other person probably doesn't think sex is gross. The other person probably is pretty interested in doing it. My advice, talk about sex early. Doesn't mean you're going to have it early. 100 years ago, maybe if a guy walked up on the first date and said, all right, let's talk about when we're going to have sex, that girl might walk away. But today it is enough of a major topic that it's understandable to say, okay, hey, let's just set some expectations for where the sex is going to be. Like, I've had bad relationships. I've been burned. Let's call it cool for a few months at least, like 90 days, 6 months, a year, marriage, whatever it's going to be. If that's for you, have that conversation. If you're going to say, you know what, sex is not a problem for me, I don't really care. I'm more interested in the emotional pieces of it. So let's just, whatever that might be. Whatever your situation is, I recommend talk about sex and then see what the other person does. If they're weird and confused and angry or whatever it might be, that tells you a lot too. Have that conversation. Red flag number 2. So now red flag number 3, this is a good one. They've got a problem-saturated story. What that means is their life story is an endless parade of who did what to them. Who wronged them? Everybody wronged them. Everything has been wrong. Everything is sad. Everything is angry and frustrating. And they're a martyr over and over and over. Or they're just, oh, I'm just an idiot. My life has been terrible. And that's their whole life story over and over. Or their life is an endless series of constant disasters now. And people are always wronging them. And they're always in an argument and always in a fight. If that's a person's experience, it's what we call an external locus of control. It means they think the world around them dictates how they feel. It means they don't know how to have relationships. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to affect change in their environment. They don't know how to live in relationships. And you will become one more bad story. Pretty much no matter how hard you work, you are going to become one more bad story at some point. That's terrible. Don't do that. I'm not saying that these people are bad people. But forming deep, intimate relationships with them is done at your own risk. It's done knowing that you will probably have to be the one person in the relationship who believes change is possible, and you're going to have to push for it and do the work yourself while they sit there complaining about how it's not possible. And then you finish it and they say, wow, that's great, you did it, but it will never work again. It is really hard to pull someone like that out of that slump. They have to choose to overcome it. They have to have their own things, and pulling them through it only makes it worse, because it just confirms that other people around them are stronger than they are. That problem-saturated story, again, they're not bad people, but if you are going to look for a healthy relationship, that is a serious red flag. Especially if they just view every relationship they've ever had as an endless series of what people have done wrong to them. I hope you understand how bad that is. But if you don't, there is nobody on this earth who has only ever met horrible people. At some point, you have to take responsibility for something, even if it is just surrounding yourself with the bad people who treat you that way. Everybody has met good people, and if you choose not to have them in your life, or if you choose to live the kind of life that makes them want to run away, at some point you must take some responsibility for that. It is not always every other human being's fault on this earth. At some point you must say, I have some power, I should do something. And if you don't, it is total learned helplessness, which nobody else can fix for you, because the problem is that you believe somebody else has to fix it for you. The problem is believing you can do it yourself. 3 red flags to look out for. No demands. Won't talk about sex. And problem-saturated story. Those 3 red flags, big time. Look for those in relationships. If you're a man, if you're a woman, if you're looking for a partner, if you're looking for a friend, maybe not the sex with friends. But the demands and the problem-saturated stories, those link up really well. These red flags right here will save you a tremendous amount of heartache. A tremendous amount. Look for them and then talk about them and address them and say, is that really how you feel with the problem-saturated story? Was there any good? Was there any time where you could push through with the sex? Hey, let's talk about this. Let's set some expectations. If not, why not? Why won't you go there? What are your expectations? What are your boundaries? What are your demands? What are your needs? Where are the lines for you? Have those conversations, and if you press them, the other person will have to respond. They will either run away or they will have the conversation. And it might change their mind, or it might show you who they are, or it might show them who you are. Have those red flag conversations. Fix your red flags, or consider getting out. That's my advice. Thank you for listening. I'm Adam Lane Smith, attachment specialist. If you like this, please like, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff that they always talk about on YouTube. My website is adamlanesmith.com. I've got courses, video courses. I'm coming out with more. I've got a whole thriving internet community now that I've built that around good attachment, around healthy relationships. We're starting small with the digital space. I'm building founding members in, and we're going to set the foundations for what we are going to be doing in the years to come. I anticipate that will actually be much bigger than my coaching. Instead of funneling people from the group into my coaching to milk them and get all their money, I'm going to be trying to, anyone who comes in with coaching, I will push them into the group. Even if it's less money for me, I don't care. We're trying to build a good community around healthy attachment, around helping each other, troubleshooting with each other, getting good tips and advice, the good things we should be doing, the red flags we should be watching out for and what to do about them, troubleshooting daily life as it comes up. Hey guys, I had this issue. What do you think I should do? What have you guys done about it? That community, oh man, I'm going to make a bigger discussion about that later, a bigger announcement on it. I'll open up joining opportunities for more people. It's not even open yet as of this recording for people to not average, but the public to join. I have a very select crew that I'm putting together to build that initial piece. And then from there, we're going to get bigger. And my goal is in-person meetings, video streams, educational seminars, bringing in guest speakers, bringing in all kinds of things to just help people live better lives, build better families, build better communities, change where they are. And if we get enough people doing that, building local chapters, local communities, local connections, changing the world. changing the world by changing our lives and changing our relationships with the people around us. It's the mission statement. So if that sounds interesting, I'd love to have you in there. I will post a link eventually whenever that goes public. Right now, we're having a great time and great discussions with just the founding members inside. It's a lot of fun. I'm actually really enjoying it. So keep an eye out for that. I've got everything else too. AdamLaneSmith.com. Check me out there. And that's me. Thanks for watching. I'll come back again.